Welcome. Today we have an extra special guest, former Swindon Town and Wales international centre back, Aaron Oakley. Welcome, Aaron.
Thank you very much. Pleasure.
So, Aaron, you and I, we kind of know each other from a long time, really. Kind of known you since you were about 10 or so years old. I just want to try and pick your brain, really, about, your journey to become a pro soccer player, and now I understand you're coaching as well. So I'm interested to hear your story, and I'm sure a lot of our viewers will be interested in hearing your background and things going and how things have progressed for you over the years. So first things first, mate. How was your time as a youngster, like in a professional academy? I mean, you were in the academy from 8 years old all the way through to when you were 18, 19 years old, mate. Can you just describe, what your time was like and the development that you've seen yourself in?
Yeah, I mean, I started football from when I was 6, joined a local team, and then soon after that I got picked up by Swindon. I initially went to Reading, but my parents were going through a divorce, and then Swindon sort of said, look, we're down the road, come to us. And I must have been 8 years old. Didn't look back, just kept going through the age groups. And to start with, it was more of, I didn't really understand. I was just playing football because I love football. But then when you get to sort of 12, 13, you have your meetings, and the academy manager was saying, look, we want you to sign a 4-year contract. And I'm a 12-year-old kid, and I'm thinking, what's a contract? Like, I just want to play football. And he started explaining, look, you're doing well. Other teams might want to take you, so we need you here. So I signed a 4-year contract. Took me up until I was 16, and then that's when they offer a 2-year scholarship, and I completed that with Swindon, and then onto my pro. But it was awesome. Just, that's all I've known is Swindon. So I loved every minute of it.
That's awesome, mate. And as you mentioned there, I mean, you were lucky enough to sign a pro deal. And I mean, I want to say it was under one of the most notorious managers I can remember in Swindon history, Mr. Paolo Di Canio. I mean, away from Paolo Di Canio, but can you just briefly describe, the change in environment from going from an academy, going through your professional development phase, actually going into your professional lifestyle? What is the biggest changes that you've seen from on the field and off the field?
So when you get your scholarship, that's sort of like a 2-year preparation phase. That's how I'd describe it. You're still training every day, you're doing your college work, but they're trying to prepare you for that next level, which is being a pro. I was actually involved with the first team when I was still doing my scholarship, which was very rare because there was a few disagreements between Di Canio himself and the youth team manager. Everyone's seen what he's like, wears his heart on his sleeve. So I was one of the lucky ones, I guess. Just going from youth team to professional, it's just a completely different world. It does take time to adjust, but I think I learned to adjust really quickly. Just little things in sessions like the tempo, the fitness, everything goes up a notch. Like, without a doubt, you're going from playing with 16, 17, 18-year-old boys to playing with guys who've played 300 league games in England. They don't take any messing about. They know what you need to do to succeed yourself. So to go to that next level again is difficult, but I felt I sort of dealt with it well, having been involved with the first team from when I was 17, 18. But it's a huge step up in terms of physically and mentally.
Amazing. I mean, I've been following your progression really since you were a younger kid. I'm not too much older than yourself, so I mean, we're in that same age bracket. And I know you've taken place in first team games. You know, you've been on the bench number amount of times at the FA Cup level. One of the biggest things, and you know, as a Welshman myself, you know, I'm proud, you know, to say that you've had the opportunity to represent our country. You know, and that's something I want to pick your brains on, because you played in some big competitions, you know, throughout your time on the international level. And I want to say that you were involved in the U23 European Championships at one point as well. What are the biggest differences there in terms of domestic versus international preparation? And, you know, can you maybe talk us through a day in the life of being a part of the national camp?
Yeah, so I was 16 when I played my first game. We played a Welsh colleges side. That was okay. I played well. My youth team manager come to watch me, and he said I did really well. But then I can't remember the first game. We went. I think we went to Slovenia for the under-19 Euro Championship qualifiers, and that's where I found out what international football is, how hard it is. I think I was still 16, 17, playing for the under-19s. We played 3 games. I sat on the bench for 2, and then I played an hour against Slovenia. But in terms of international football, everything is spot on, from your travel, the hotels, the food. It kind of felt like your royalty wherever you went. It's not even joking. The way just when you get to the airport and you're in your tracksuits and everything is done to perfection. And at club level, you still get that, but you get a bit of sort of privacy, I think. You go home, you chill out, but there you're surrounded by everything. The media are there, other teams are there, people, coaches, like coming to watch you, people at the airport. It's just another world. I can't describe it really, but it's something that I really enjoyed, and I always say it's my proudest moment of my career every time I put on the red shirt.
Yeah, I'd agree with you, mate. I definitely agree with you. So, mate, staying on the topic of football and soccer, you've recently just taken your trade to Sweden, mate. You played 1 year as a pro out there, and I believe that now you're coaching a women's team in Sweden as well. Mate, how have you adapted to life in Sweden, and what's the game like in Sweden?
Yeah, so I did 2 seasons out here, and I played under an English manager. He's now a coach in the Allsvenskan, which is the Swedish Premiership. He's gone on to there, and he developed my game massively. I'd probably say those 2 years were like the fun part of football, but still serious as well. I really enjoyed my time. I then went home for a year last year. I decided that I wanted to get into coaching when I was back home. I didn't feel like I was going to progress anymore with football, so I wanted to think about the future and what I could do in the future. And I thought, I like being around people still. I think I've learned a lot in the game, and I wanted to try and help people. So I was at home coaching for Swindon in the community, doing bits and bobs there. And then my friend in Sweden rang me and said he'd signed a deal with a top Swedish girls team to do their under-19 team, and he wanted me to be his assistant. So it was a bit of a shock, because I'd only just started coaching last year properly. I'd done bits and bobs before when I was younger, but this would be my first role as an assistant manager. So circumstances back home, I became single. I had nothing to lose, so I thought, why not? I'm going to go for it. And at the moment, it's probably the best decision I've made. I've really enjoyed it. In terms of the football, I'd say Swedish football, men's and women's, it's a lot more technical. I think it's not as physical as England. Obviously, my game as a centre back was about being physical, being strong, winning the tackles, having the manager shout at you from the sideline. Whereas over here, I think it's more tactical and possession based, and that's something I enjoy because I did that as a player at Swindon, playing out from the back, playing through the thirds, and I've kind of tried to take bits of my playing and implicate it into the coaching sessions we do out here.
Awesome, mate. That's amazing. That's some good stuff. Mate, so just to kind of finish up with a couple things, I mean, can I maybe ask you to share some advice on goal setting for some of our younger players that we coach here in the United States, and maybe touch on any advice you may have on maintaining your body appropriately, so you can take care and you can consistently play?
Yeah, sure. I think everyone knows to be at the top of your game, you have to be physically right first. Like there's no doubt about it. If you're not physically right, if you're not eating the right foods, I know you see a lot of interviews with footballers and they say you have to eat all your veg and your protein and your carbs, and everyone says it, but it's the truth. They say it for a reason. They eat the right things so they can be on top of their game. The other side, mentally, I think you have to be strong in football. I think there's a lot of politics wherever you go, whether that's youth team level, whether you're 10 years old, whether you're 28 years old. I think a lot of people have a lot of things to say. And I've learned that from my time at Swindon. I had managers who thought the world of me. And then I had managers who, when I was injured, didn't even bother with me. So I think mentally you have to be strong. Just because someone says you can't do something, it doesn't mean you can't. You have to be mentally strong enough to go and prove you can. And it happens with a lot of youngsters. They get rejected and they think, oh, this person told me I can't do it. Don't believe it. I think you can do it. You have to believe in yourself. You have to look after yourself.
I love that, mate. I love that message. And then one final thing, mate. I know you've been around the block a couple of times in terms of your playing. So I'm interested to know two things: who's the best player you've played with, and who's the best player you've played against?
I got asked this the other day, actually. There's a lot of good players. For example, Matt Ritchie, who is at Newcastle. He played with him a couple of times and trained with him every day. Unbelievable player. In terms of against, when I played for Wales, we played in the Euro Championships, and one of our games was against Sweden, actually. And their captain that day was Victor Lindelof, who's now at United. And yeah, we played against him I think he played right back. And I think I spent half the game just watching him, and maybe that's why we lost 3-1. But I was literally in awe because you can tell a player straight away, and just the way he was playing, I was just like, wow, like he's going to go far. And then a couple of years later, he's signing for Man United on big money. So yeah, I'd say them two were the standouts. But I mean, I played against Germany, and I marked a guy who'd just been signed for £1 million to Liverpool from Bayer Leverkusen. So I had the job of marking him, which wasn't easy. In terms of Welsh players, Johnny Williams, little magician. He was class to play with. Lloyd Isgrove, who's now at Swindon, and he's played for Wales as well. Billy Bowden. I could name 100 more, but off the top of my head, it's hard to think of specific ones.
No, that's awesome, mate. That's amazing, mate. Well, hey, I appreciate your time, mate, and I appreciate the advice. Good luck in Sweden, mate, and don't be a stranger. Get in touch.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.